Right, for this tree I just wanted to zoom into the trunk so you could see these, what are known as orros. You can see where all the dead wood is cracked and fissured, and it's all starting to decay naturally. This is, I believe, a hornbeam, a European hornbeam. Let's just zoom out and we'll give it a trim. So as you can see from the zoomed in pictures, all of these are natural dead wood. It's where branches have come off in the past and they're all decaying nicely. It's going to make a nice little hollow. So that's what can happen to a tree once you've had it for a few years, when the scars all heal over properly. All the way up this tree you can see it's had lots of branches taken off over the years. There are many scars on it. There's a lovely big one inside there if I can get the camera to it. There's a nice one in there, really nice and deep. So that's one of the features of a deciduous tree like this. You get some lovely old scars on them. Right, so this again, it's a tree that's been left to grow. It's had one trim this year. Haven't done much with it. The branches on this tree naturally twist and turn and grow back on themselves. You can probably see by all the shapes of the branches. I very rarely wire this tree. All of this is naturally done by the tree itself. It's one of the easier ones to look after because you don't have to wire it. It'll twist and turn and go where it wants. So basically that's what I let it do. I suppose it's in the informal upright style. It's leaning for the first part of the trunk, and then the main part of the trunk is upright, so it's an upright tree for the main part. Depending on how you put it in the pot, you could look at it from that angle, it would be a formal upright. But I tend to use that as the front, so obviously all these lovely scars. It's a tree that's been in my collection for a fair few years now, probably well over 10 years. So all I'm going to do, all these long extensions, I'm going to trim back to 2 or 3 leaves. Should be a fairly quick process to do. Don't really have to think too much about where I'm cutting them. It's almost something that you do on autopilot. You do so many of them. I like to take my time. I don't rush and just cut away willy-nilly. Sometimes it might look like I'm working fairly fast, but they're all the cuts are made with the tree in mind. I always give it a quick look over before I start the video just to see what I think I'm going to be generally doing. So that can lead to me doing some quite fast work. I already know what's coming off. But again, so this is just a trim. Some of the branches have become extremely long. Some are not doing as well as others. Quite a congested area in this part of the tree. This is where you need to think a little bit more. Take off that turning bolt there. Right, so that one can come off. Right, so this branch under here has been shaded by those other branches. As you can see, it's dead. So I'll take that right back to there. It's the one thing with this tree, it does put on quite a lot of growth. It can kill off a lot of branches. That's why you've got all of these dead areas. Most of it has been caused by the tree itself. It's not something that I've done. I can't take much credit for the style of this tree, because it just grows the way it wants to grow, and I just let it. I just trim it every now and again to keep it within proportion. It's a bit of a freeform tree, really. It grows where it wants to grow. If that means the branches are going back into the tree, that's what happens. I know it's not classically correct for bonsai, but you try telling a tree which way to grow its branches and it will do its own thing. This one here, for instance, this is a point effect. This branch is coming out to the front of the tree, but it's done a 180 degrees, it's gone back on itself, it's gone through, it's come out the other side of the tree. So I could, if I wanted to, bring it back and wire it this way to give it some sort of structure. But what I'll do for the moment, I'll just trim that and trim that, and then that bit as well. So that can then allow me to put that into its proper position. I'll do that a little bit later. Let's take off some of those larger leaves. Alright, let's have a quick look, see what it looks like. Yeah, so when you get down to the level of the tree, you can see where things aren't looking correct. That's a little bit too much. So again, you can see here, this particular branch here, it's decided it's going to go around the back of another couple of branches and come around the opposite side of the tree. You could really be doing with coming out that side. I'll just take off the end of that. It's getting a bit late at the moment. I'm starting to lose the light, so what I'll do, I'll just trim this now, and then tomorrow I'll come out and see if it needs any wiring. I'll do the wiring tomorrow. I'll start wiring it tonight. I'm going to be here for a couple of hours, and by the time I've done that, it's going to be virtually dark. So I'll just do the main trimming today, and then tomorrow we can pick up the video, possibly, if I decide to do any wiring on it. So normally I just let it do what it likes, but there are a couple of branches that I can see that would benefit by being put into a different position. But it's a tree that does its own thing, and I'm quite happy for it to do it. So let's just trim that back, take off that large leaf. Right. I'll start wiring it tonight. I'm going to be here for a couple of hours, and by the time I've done that, it's going to be virtually dark. So I'll just do the main trimming today, and then tomorrow we can pick up the video, possibly, if I decide to do any wiring on it. Normally I just let it do what it likes, but there are a couple of branches that I can see that would benefit by being put into a different position. But it's a tree that does its own thing, and I'm quite happy for it to do it. So let's just trim that back, take off that large leaf. Right, so quick 360. Yeah, I think what I might do tomorrow is just wire a couple of branches. I might do a little bit more trimming. Oh, there's a dead branch there that I've seen. off. Right. Now this is called classically a fault. You can see we've got one branch, two branches, three branches, all coming from the same position. But when you look at the tree, especially from the front, when you can't actually see that, you can only see this one coming out there, and they make two nice back branches. So even though it's classically thought of as a fault, I have left it there. Perhaps this middle branch could come out to help reduce that bulge, but when you look at it from the front, I'm quite happy with the position that it gives a nice dense canopy at the back. Right, so that's about it. I can see a few things that need to be done. As I say, the sun's going down now, so I'm losing the light. I use the rest of what's left of the day to actually water the trees, and we'll come back tomorrow and we'll see what we can do. Thanks very much.